Hello, Formula One fans, and welcome back to F1 in Focus. If you are unfamiliar with the show, we are the only podcast where a Lewis and a Max fan can very much get along in the wonderful world of Formula One and actually stay friendly during the season. So, this season, we'll be doing things a little different. Firstly, we'll be recording the show every Monday after a race week, making us bring the show live, we hope, every single Tuesday. Next on the list, we are trying different format in line with the show name being F1 in Focus. So every week we start with a short race recap and each host brings in a topic to, you get the idea, focus on for the show. So this keeps the show structured, fast paced, and hopefully sparks some interesting discussions along the way. We also start our prediction battle from this episode on to see who can wear the not yet existing but soon will be created F1 in Focus prediction shirt for next season. My name is John, and I'll be your host for the new season. And with me is the man with the best hair in the business. That actually took my breath away. It's none other than James Hazel.
Hello again. It's been a while. How are you doing?
It's definitely been a while. It's been so long, I actually can't stop coughing. So, no, it's been good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, ready for a new season.
Yeah, are you ready? Because it's been like the preseason has been the craziest preseason ever, I think.
Yeah,
we are recording this just before the start of the new season, which starts on a Thursday with a race on Saturday.
Yeah, we're recording this on Wednesday before the weekend really starts. Yeah,
exactly. Weekend starts on Thursday this year, so 24 races to go. I am looking so much forward. But James, I got one question before we start our prediction battle and dive into the content. Are you going to be wearing red next season?
More than likely. Go Ferrari.
Oh boy.
To be fair, like last year and the year before, I've been wanting to see Ferrari do well again for a long time. So I'd be very happy if they do happen to do well after Lewis has moved in. I'm not. I don't think I'm really aligned to a team. I like certain drivers, so I follow the driver rather than the team. So yeah, who cares about Mercedes anymore?
13 years down the drain. Bye bye. There goes your merchandise wearing red, redoing the whole house.
No, I think they'll. I think actually, to be fair, I will always have some element of like fandom or loyalty to Mercedes, if loyalty is even the right word for this, because obviously Hamilton had so much success with them there. Wouldn't be the champion that he became without being at Mercedes. So
you're not selling your Maybach anytime soon.
Oh no, I'll be keeping that. Yeah, maybe you'll only drive that on a Sunday now, but yeah.
Yeah, bring in the GTO now for the weekdays.
Oh, don't get me started on some of the classical Ferraris. Yeah.
Well, I've heard they wear down tires even faster than the Formula One cars did last year. So
yeah, maybe that problem might be fixed this year. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, they also won 2 seconds this year. Oh wait, that was last year where they made a huge leap in the winter. So, but they did look good in practice and in testing, honestly. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's hope so, though, because it will make things much more interesting.
Yeah, I want to see that. I mean, if Max runs away with every race, I think that's probably inevitable, even going into this year. But if it could be a little bit closer, that'd be nice. That's what I want to see. I just want to see a bit more fighting, more than just like the first couple of laps and then it's kind of decided. I'd just like to see another team be able to at least try and take it to Red Bull.
Well, have you watched the new season of Drive to Survive already?
I have never watched an episode of Drive to Survive, so no, I have not watched this season of Drive to Survive.
All right, the season where Max Verstappen actually wrote history, dominated the sport. I think he has like 40 seconds of screen time in 10 episodes. And in those 40 seconds, it just shows that he wins it all. That's
Yeah.
it. So, James, this season I solemnly promise that we keep better score of our predictions. And to make sure we do that, I want to make sure we do the predictions based on scores so we can actually keep count every single week. I've prepared 10 questions that each gets you 25 points at the end of the year if you got the right answer or you are closest to the right answer if it's a question based on numbers.
All right.
Next to that, every single race before we start the race, we'll do a little prediction where we predict the pole position, the race winner, the first did not finish, and we get a bonus question. And those questions get you 1 point if you get it right or get closest by per episode. So you can get 250 points at the end of the season, and you can get 4 points during the season with 24 races. It could be really exciting until the end. Unless Max wins every race and we know at least 1 or 2 of the questions and we might change the question during the season.
Depending on how the start of the season goes, maybe we'll change the race winner to who finishes second.
Exactly. I'm not. That's going to be much more interesting, at least.
Yeah.
No,
we'll see how it goes. If it's like last year, then we might have to do that. But if it's not, then yeah.
Well, last year we still had 2 race winners in the first 4 races. So
true. Yeah.
That didn't change during the season.
No, I was going to say the rest of the season didn't really change that much, other than when Sainz got his freak win. But
exactly. Well, Sainz is a curious one this year, but I'm sure we'll be having lots of discussions about switching teammates during this season because that might bring some tension.
Yes, yeah.
So, wearing red next season, I hope to wear a prediction winner shirt next season. So let's start with question 1. Easy one, James. Which team is finishing last?
Last in the constructors?
Yes, sir.
Haas.
Well, not in the first race because that will be weird. Haas.
Yeah, I'm going with Haas. They don't look great.
They look memeable, to say the least.
You're going Haas as well, are you?
I have to go for Haas.
Yeah. I mean, it's to be fair, it's Haas or Alpine, I think. Alpine don't look particularly good either.
No.
But I'll stick with my gut instinct on that one and go with Haas.
Yeah, well, I think if the new team principal says don't count on anything, that's probably a good way of saying you'll probably finish last. So we're better not counting on you. We'll be counting you to get us, either of us, 25 points, though. So
yeah, go Haas. Go last.
Go last, yeah. Well, I honestly don't think that will be that difficult for them. If they keep, like last year, they couldn't keep the tires under the car for more than 1/3 of a race.
Yeah.
They were the only team that had to pit during a sprint race to actually make the end.
I mean, we joke about Ferrari's tyre wear last season, but Haas was ridiculous.
Yeah, well, totally ridiculous. So I don't see that changing anytime soon either. And I agree with you. The Alpine boys look really bad. But honestly, they have shown they can develop a little bit over the season. So worst thing that happens there is they crash each other out.
Yeah.
So not too worried. James, question number 2.
Yep.
Which driver will get the most DNFs during a season?
Most DNFs in the season? Sargent.
Oh! So I wanted to go for the Sargent as well.
Oh, sorry.
Because I said that last year and I was pretty correct.
Right.
And I could go for anyone else, but I don't think there's anyone else able to take that spot away from it. I saw him. Did you watch the test runs?
I had it on while I was working, so I wasn't really paying a huge amount of attention. I was listening to the commentary, but the commentary in testing is more just rambling, and the guys in the commentary booth having a bit of a laugh with each other. It's not because it's hard for them to really know what's going on because you have no idea what the teams are doing. But obviously, post testing, there's been some like educated guesses on what everybody's doing, I suppose. So,
well, apparently Sargent got much stronger, much more stable. practiced a lot, but he didn't look good on paper. He doesn't look good when you're on track either. But I'm going to switch this prediction around. I'll go for someone else to make sure we get a little excited there. I'll go for my dear friend, Lance Stroll.
Stroll would have been my other choice as well, yeah.
Okay, so Sergeant for you, Lance Stroll for myself.
Yep.
Question number 3. This is a tricky one, though. Yes or no? Will Lewis be beaten by George this year?
No.
And why?
I think that's a difficult one, though, because I think there's every chance that Mercedes obviously starts favouring George because Lewis is out of the team.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, he and Toto are pretty good friends, and I don't think this has really ruined their relationship. Toto's been trying to do everything he can to keep Hamilton. Like, one of the things rumoured is Hamilton wanting like an ambassador kind of role for Mercedes that even Toto's tried to push for, apparently. So I'm gonna say Hamilton because he is the better driver, and I think over a season he should beat George. It's just depends what the team does, and if they start favouring him with George with strategy and development and stuff. But yeah, I'll stick with Lewis.
All right, I'll go for George. So no on this question.
Yeah,
pretty much because of the reason you say. There's no doubt Lewis is the better driver. Let's not get that mistaken there.
Yeah.
But I do think that after a race of 5, 6, 7 races, if there's no championship to be won, which, okay, I'm not a psychic, but looking at how they did in the practice sessions, in the testing days, I don't see that car doing very well. Where I do think that we'll get a little bit of tension in the team, and they have to favor George no matter what happens then, right? So.
Yeah. I think the one thing Mercedes do have going for them, I don't know if we're going to start covering testing and these sorts of predictions later on in the show, but they do seem to be in a much better starting position than obviously last year and the year before, but they are still on the back foot because they're kind of coming into 2024, a bit like every other team, bar Red Bull, of course, came into 2023 because Red Bull kind started the season with their end game car already. It's like they just skipped the development race and just had it all from the start last year.
This year as well, I'm afraid, though.
Yeah, quite likely by the looks of it. So yeah, I think there could be tensions, but I personally think over the course of a season, Mercedes are probably still going to be in the fight for second in the Constructors Championship. So their tensions might not be allowed to get too high because I think they might want to be working as a team.
And we've heard that before, Mercedes, though.
What's that?
Well, we have Nico and Lewis in the same spot, and that
this is nothing like that with tension wise because that's like championship fight, and it's not only that, but it's a friendship and a rivalry that was like basically combusting after however many years of them constantly being like in the same paddock as each other and being childhood friends, and then having to become bitter rivals effectively in the end. So
true. I mean, that is different, but last year every time they were together they had a fight over the radio.
There was a bit of that, and I think there always will be.
Yeah, but this year I think there will be orders.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, George last year came across as like, trying to think how to describe it really, but like the pack animal that's trying to like vie for being the alpha is what he seemed to be doing. He was like, I want to be the alpha of this team. And he just doesn't, as much as he tries, he just doesn't really come across as that kind of person. Now, whether that changes once Lewis is gone, because the other thing to think about, and Russell's kind of made this point, and sorry, we're kind of drifting away a little bit from our predictions and questions, but we're looking at George and saying like, he's like second best in that team because he's not as good as Lewis, but we're comparing him to Lewis Hamilton. Like, when Lewis leaves, whoever replaces him, I think George is suddenly going to look very, very good because he's going to be against it doesn't pretty much whoever he's against is going to be a lesser driver than Hamilton has been. So, and I think basically George has effectively said that himself. He said, he doesn't care who his teammate's going to be because he spent 3 years, or he will have spent 3 years battling against Lewis. So
True.
So yeah,
Guess we'll
I
see.
think kind of downplay George a little bit, but I think he's suddenly going to look very good when he has someone other than Lewis to try and fight against in a Mercedes. But anyway, sorry, slight
No, it's gonna
ramble
be
over. Back
no,
to the
no, no. I think
questions.
this is cool. This is why we do this, and I like the Sainz versus Leclerc, the Russell versus Lewis. This year is going to be
Yeah,
probably a recurring focus topic.
yeah.
Somewhere down the line.
I think the Sainz and Leclerc thing is going to be more interesting than Russell and Hamilton because Sainz is going to feel a little bit upset, I think, and a little bit taken aback
Fair
by
enough. Only race winner from
to be
Ferrari
fair,
last year.
I mean, yeah, he he is a solid driver, and I think that Ferrari probably had the best pairing on the grid last year. I think Hamilton and Russell is maybe like either a tie or a close second.
Piastri, Norris, maybe.
Yeah, ish. I mean, Piastri started a bit flaky, and I mean the team started flaky. And yeah, when it came together, it was obviously pretty good, but it was still, Norris was clearly outperforming Piastri for the most part. Obviously, there was a sprint race that Piastri won, but generally, I don't think Piastri quite brought enough to that partnership that Sainz and Leclerc bring to theirs, and Hamilton and Russell bring to theirs.
We'll get into
But yeah,
those too in a
maybe
moment,
like
though.
third for them.
I got a special question prepared for them. So
okay, yeah.
So question 3, will Lewis be beaten by George? You says no. I say yes. That means end of the year points. Lewis is above George. So not one race at the end of the year.
Yep.
So we got 2 questions where we already disagree on. So it's going to be interesting. Yep. Question number 4, James. How many teams will win a race this year? Last year we had 2.
I'm going to say 3.
I'll go with 4.
Yeah, I was tempted to go with 4, but I
was tempted to go with 3, but you said 3. Like, I'll go 4.
I think the big problem here is, I mean, it could even just be 2 again, and that's my slight worry. I'm trying to be optimistic about this season because testing does look pretty good. Ferrari have got like their biggest weakness resolved. They've always been fast at qualifying, especially with Leclerc because he just seems to be a one-lap master. So with their race pace potentially fixed a little bit, maybe they can kind of keep up with Red Bull a little bit, and maybe they can sneak the occasional win. And then, you've always got to imagine there's going to be some sort of freak race somewhere on the calendar, a bit like Singapore last year. And it doesn't have to just be Singapore because Singapore's a bumpy track and it didn't favour the Red Bull. Like something could happen, whether it's just bad timing of a red flag, like Max has literally just pitted, and then you get a red flag or something, and everyone
got more
gets
races, so
yeah,
chances are bigger.
There's always the chance that could happen. Now that didn't really pan out that way for Red Bull, and in some ways I think Red Bull were very lucky to get the amazing set of results that they got last year. So yeah, I think 3 seems reasonable.
I'll go with 4.
A little bit hopeful as well, maybe, but yeah.
I can see Danny Rick win a race this year. No.
No.
Alonso.
Unless you get something like Monza, that's where the Toro Rosso / AlphaTauri / Racing Bulls seem to freak a win now and then.
True. Let it rain.
Yeah.
So 3 race win teams for you, 4 for myself.
Yeah.
Question 5. VCarb.
Yeah.
Is going to be on the podium this year.
I'm going to say no. I feel like there is a there's a chance if you get a freak result like we were just discussing, but I think, or rather I was saying, because I felt like I was just rambling again, but yeah, I think there's a chance, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no on that one.
I'm going to say yes because I thought no and I just want to be different.
Okay.
And
I mean, they do look reasonable. I don't think they're quite as fast as everyone started to fear at one point when they thought, oh, they've just basically brought last year's Red Bull, which they haven't.
mate, everyone brought last year's Red Bull except
Well,
Red Bull.
yeah. They've all brought their own version of it, but the biggest problem is the flaw, and you don't always know what's happening with the flaws because you very rarely see it unless it's Monaco and the car gets lifted up on a crane, which, granted, that did happen with
Perez.
Happened with a Mercedes and a Ferrari, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't at Monaco, it was somewhere else. A Ferrari definitely ended up in the air. But that's probably the most important aspect of the car for this set of regulations, and no one gets to see it. So there's any kind of unknown mysteries happening under there, which it's hard for any team to really just copy each other. And that's where I think this kind of ground effect era is actually a bit of a problem and has led to this kind of potential for one team to get it right and just completely disappear and no other team to really properly catch up.
True. I want to say something about the Red Bull though, but I'm sure we're going to be discussing that after a couple of races at least.
Yeah.
But boy, that car is something special to look at.
I think it's a bit ugly.
Well, I didn't say beautiful. I said special, mate.
I mean, it looks mean, and but it's that kind of slightly Mercedes concept of those kind of big shoulders. That is how it looks. It looks like it's just got its shoulders hunched up, like it's, I don't know. Look, it looks tense.
It's like me on the beach.
It just looks like it just looks like it needs a massage.
I think that's but I have to applaud that. We don't know if it works, right? But they could have just developed further on what they had and still be good, I think. Yeah, this could go either way. Like this, I think it's daring after the season they had them, but this could be like, oh my boys, they knock it out of the park here.
It's quite funny, like the little games that they all play, like before the car's even revealed. Because at one point, Adrian Newey's sort of saying, I feel like we've been a bit too conservative this year. We maybe should have done something a bit different. And then it comes to the car being announced. And it's like, well, we just figured everyone was going to copy us, so we had to do something radical. Like your car is so much different, and you're talking about like 3 weeks ago, talking about you felt you'd been too conservative.
I appreciate that though.
Yeah, it's just games. They're all just kind of bluffing each other, and it's like some like giant elaborate game of poker.
Yeah, with $1 million cars in your hands.
Yeah. It's very elaborate. Yeah, I'm very
James, question number 6.
Yep.
Piastri will get his first win before Norris will this season.
No. And I don't think McLaren are even going to win a race this year. I mean, it's even, like it happens frequently. In the past that they win races, like their last win was still Ricciardo, wasn't it? And that was their first win in a long time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
they've had a great end of the season though last year.
They did, but I'm not too sure how they're going to start this season.
Well, I think not as good as they finished last season, but they'll be back as well.
No, I think they're probably 4th fastest team on the grid based on testing, kind of the initial read on the testing results at least. But again, we're not going to know until
24 races though. 24. Yeah. It's a long time, James.
It is. It's a lot of opportunity for development. It's a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong for cars at the front of the field. Like, if Perez is having one of his like off days, which is 50% of the time is an off time for him.
True.
And Max has some sort of mechanical issue, gets a puncture or anything like that.
Didn't happen last year though. But...
Well, no, he just had the perfect season pretty much. I mean, other than the fact that he didn't win 2 races that were won by Red Bull, and then Red Bull only failed to win 1 race. Like he'd be very greedy to ask for more than that, I think, from a season. So yeah, I think with 24, it's a bit like we were saying again, like 24 races, a lot of opportunity for things to go wrong,
True.
but I still don't think McLaren win a race.
I'm
I think
gonna
if
say
stuff's going wrong, it's going to be Ferrari, and if Ferrari do a Ferrari and just throw it away with bad strategy, then I think it's probably going to be Mercedes. And I think really those are the three for my 3 race winning teams this year.
I gotta admit, you sort of convincing me to say no as well.
Sorry,
But that wouldn't be much. That wouldn't be much fun, would it?
No, so you could say yes then.
So Piastri
But
will
I
win
think
them.
even if McLaren do win a race, I still think it's Norris over Piastri.
I start to think either Norris is cursed or he just isn't a race winner. So
Yeah, I mean he's a great driver, but I almost feel like he's settling, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like signing these long deals with McLaren, he's not. It doesn't feel like he's got any kind of aspirations for anything more than what he's currently doing.
that's exactly how I feel, and I'll tell you the main reason why. Because he said there's no point in driving next to Max, for example, at Red Bull.
Yeah,
But hey, if you want your race win, that's the best place to be to get a race win.
exactly. And if you've got confidence in yourself, even if it's Max's team, you've got to like that. Yeah, that is a bit of a sign of weakness when you say something like that. I think as a Formula One driver, because like Hamilton or Leclerc or even Alonso or whatever, they'd be like, "No, I want to race Max in his own car. I can beat him." That's what they'd say, whether they can or not.
Exactly.
The other way to
Alonso
find out
said,
is to do it.
I'll gladly take the seat. And hey, Mercedes, I'm free next year as well if you want. So I'll give it a shot. Right? I mean, that's so. No,
I think if he hadn't signed that long deal with McLaren, I think he would have actually probably wanted to go to Mercedes.
No, but
I think
he would get signed by Red Bull.
Pardon?
Sure. He would get signed by Red Bull.
Yeah. Well, I think Red Bull would like him, but I just don't think he'd go there because of the way he's talking. I mean, the way he's talking
we
could
don't
also
even want him anymore.
Well, it could also be a negotiation tactic. No, I don't want to go to Red Bull. Well, what if we paid you this much? Yeah, okay, I'll go to Red Bull. You know?
Yeah. It's what my kids say. Hey, I don't want to eat this. Well,
yeah.
Then you don't. It's my answer usually.
Yeah. But if, Helmut Marko quite clearly admires him as a driver.
Yeah, fair. I'm going to say yes, though, this question, just to make it more interesting. I mean, you're going to win this contest, but 250-point difference, or I'm going to go.
Who knows? We'll find out in 24 races and basically 11 months.
Yeah, but I'm also going to win every single week, so I'll have a little bit of a head start. James,
yeah.
Question 7 out of 10. There will be a Formula One team that gets sold this year. Andretti didn't make it in. That means the value of F teams go up, which makes it the sell value look a bit more enticing. And there is someone, for example, Andretti, that says, maybe can I pick the team?
Alpine.
Audi is maybe dropping off. So,
oh, you think Audi's just not going to not going to commit now? I think if they were going to buy a team, I think Alpine just sells up and ducks out, and they can because who else runs a Renault engine these days?
Haas,
or Haas, I suppose.
There's also Kick Sauber.
Yeah,
maybe someone wants to buy the Red Bull VCarb team.
I think the Audi
Stroll
thing
might just want to say, you know what, my son ain't cutting it, and well, we can't let Alonso race forever. So I think there's a pretty solid chance one of the F teams will get sold during the year.
Yeah, I agree, but I think the Audi thing will go ahead. So I think Sauber becoming Audi is going to happen. So I don't think Sauber's really being sold. They're just...
That's true. So this is going to be the last year we see green racing cars. Bright green, yellow racing cars.
Yeah, because we've still got Aston Martin.
Huh?
And I think they will remain because of the Honda partnership that they've got. Because they become the Honda factory team, don't they, for 2026?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. But you can still sell your team. I mean,
Well, they can.
Andretti, Honda sounds.
I think Aston Martin will not, and I think they will commit and carry on with the Honda partnership they're going to do.
Right. Then they have to fire.
So I think
Stroll,
teams. I think the only two teams that are likely to leave are Haas or Alpine, because going back to that question, who else runs a Renault engine? Is it literally just Alpine?
Yeah.
So they could just say, you know what, we're done. We're not selling any engines. We can't be bothered with doing this. Sell to.
They look so bad during preseason. We'll see. So you think there will be one F1 team being sold, and we're not counting if Audi takes over Sauber?
No, we don't count Audi because we already think that's happening anyway. That's more of a it might not happen rather than a buy. Yeah, I think it'll happen, and I think it'll be Alpine.
Okay. Bonus points, 25 bonus points if it gets Alpine. I say it happens, and I want to say it's Haas. But Steiner gone.
Pretty sure both of Alpine's drivers are up for renewal at the end of this season as well.
I wouldn't renew any of them, but that's different.
No. No. And meanwhile, Ocon, I am still technically a Mercedes driver.
Yeah, hire me, please.
You're not getting that Mercedes seat, mate.
No, Toto is just afraid of telling you.
Yeah.
Question number 8. Lewis will win a race this year.
I
made it easy for you, mate.
I've got to say yes to this because I've already predicted that there's going to be 3 teams winning a race, and I think Mercedes are one of them. And I think
Russell was the last Mercedes winner. He was
the only winner of the last 2 seasons for Mercedes.
Exactly.
What a dire turn of events that's been for them. I think he'll win a race. I think he'll break the unfortunate streak that he's currently on.
Then I'm going to go with no, because, hey, let's make this interesting.
I think if he can win anywhere, I think it's Hungary. It's a circuit he loves. He does amazingly well there, and it does have the potential to be like a bit of an oddball race, if you know what I mean, where something could happen and you get a freak result.
But when Hungary arrives, or when the circus arrives at Hungary, George is already the number 1 driver.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm looking so forward to this year, James. Lewis wins, right? James says yes. I say no.
Okay.
James, this one sounds weird, but who knows? Who's going to win the World Constructor Championship?
Red Bull. I think it's Red Bull. I don't see how it can be anything other than Red Bull. I think if they even start the season anywhere close to the way they started last season, then it's a given. I mean, they beat Mercedes and Ferrari combined last season.
That is true.
That kind of opens another can of worms for me that I would want to probably discuss at some point, and that is the budget caps and the fact that Mercedes is effectively punished almost as hard as Red Bull for finishing second in the Constructors' Championship, but finishing with like 50% fewer points or something like that. Like the points gap was ridiculous, but they suffer just as bad, nearly.
We definitely have to do a show about that.
Yeah, something in my opinion is clearly broken there and might need tweaking, but I don't know how or when they could ever do that.
We could also say number 2 to number 6 were so freaking close last year.
Yeah,
that's something we've never had either. So
I think then maybe. Again, this is a conversation for another time, really. This could be a focus point when we're doing our F1 in focus. But I think the way they kind of cap the budget and all the other stuff that they do with that maybe should fall more in line with not just where you finish in the championship, but kind of how you divvy up how the points have been divvied up in the championship as well. So someone running miles ahead doesn't suffer only marginally worse than somebody who finishes second but is miles behind.
I'm going to say Ferrari wins the World Championship.
I'd like to see it because
I'll tell you exactly why.
Because that's where Lewis is going. So.
I'm going to tell you why. Because Sainz is going to be a demon this year.
Oh yeah, Science is going to be on fire. He's got everything to. Well, he's not really got anything to prove, but he's going to feel like he's got something to prove because he's going to feel wrong.
He's been so good last year, and
he was great last year.
I mean, he's a smart driver, but that's one. Also, I don't think Perez can hold on for another year, feeling the pressure from Danny Rick from the other team, feeling the pressure if he doesn't make it with a flying start of the season. And last year they were lucky Max got all the points, plus lucky all the other teams fought with each other. Every 4 races we had a different number 2 team. If that wasn't happening, Lewis would still get second in the World Championship himself last year.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit more consistent this year and Perez is as inconsistent as he was last year, I can see Red Bull dropping the WCC to a team like Ferrari. So I'm going to say Ferrari.
Okay. I think there's 2 ways to look at this because
your way and my way.
Well, I think Perez, he's got to have the right mindset, and it depends how his off season has been and what he wants to make out of this season and his future. Because potentially he could just retire at the end of this season. He could just say, I'm just done after this season and completely beat we're ditching Perez because he's not good enough. And if he takes the pressure off himself, then that could actually improve his performance.
But if he says, I'm just going to get number 2 position and I'm just going to accept I'll win an occasional race, not going to be angry about Max winning, he might just be in Red Bull for the next 3 years as well.
Yeah. Helmut Marko the other day was saying that, if Perez is more consistent and he just, seals second in the Drivers' Championship, that's good enough for them and they'd consider keeping him beyond this year. Now, obviously, Helmut Marko's got a bit of a...
We don't have to take everything, Mr. Marko.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a history of saying things that aren't necessarily what he means or is true.
Most
and he also likes to... He also just loves to apply pressure on anybody and everybody he possibly can. So he could say something like that, and Yuki Tsunoda and Danny Rick all sat, and Liam Lawson even are all sat there like, but I want that seat, and I could do better than him. Why are they happy with him just finishing second like that? I could do better, So, I don't think Perez gets re-signed no matter what happens this season, unless he somehow wins the championship. But I don't think that's going to happen. Even if he did win the championship, I still don't think he would.
If he won the championship, I would retire if I was him. Just doing Nico Rosberg, like, what?
Yeah, but I think that's what he would do if he won. To be fair, but I don't see him ever winning.
Become the next president of Mexico and just call it days.
Yeah.
All right, James. Last question, but I did think of a bonus question. So it's up to you if you want to do the bonus question as well.
No, we'll do it. Might as well. We're on a roll.
Exactly. How many points? Question 10. How many points will VCarb get in total? And if you want, this is a question that goes by numbers. So you have to be closest to win it at the end of the year. If you want, I can answer first, if that makes it easier for you. You can just go higher or lower after.
Let me just take a look at last year's constructors.
No, you don't have to compare points from them from last year, though.
Well, no, it's just roughly where like the bottom of the field or like the bottom half of the field was, because that might help me make an educated guess. So, for example, Alpine scored 120 points last year, and I don't think they're scoring that many this year, whereas AlphaTauri, as they were back then, scored 25. I think there's going to be a bit of a role reversal there. So I think VCarb Racing Bulls, not Red Bulls, RBR. RB Racing Bulls, Red Bulls, RBR, Red Bull Racing. I think
just rolls of the tongue when you say
VCarb, Visa Cash App.
No,
Racing
VCarb.
Bulls.
We don't get paid by Visa. It's VCarb. But if you're interested, you can just send an email. Nah, never mind. But.
Yeah. I think they will finish with... I got to go with what Alpine scored last year. I'm going to go with 120.
I'll go with 121. No. I'm not going to be that guy. I'm going to say 180.
180.
Put it real high. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
I got to be honest. I actually put 80 on my sheet here, but I don't want to be sitting that close to you below. I think I'll be positive about it. So I'm going to go with 180.
I think there is a chance they're going to be like 5th or 6th in the constructors, because I don't think Aston Martin, they're not going to start the season the way they started last season. I don't think there's any chance of that. So I don't think Aston Martin are quite going to have the season they had last year.
They got 200 something points, right?
To be fair, Williams are looking a bit better this year.
Yes,
so I think
that is
Williams...
Fair. But it's still a Sargent in that car.
Do.
I'm sorry.
Williams only scored 28 points last year. You've got to imagine they're going to do better than that. So maybe actually VCarb do slightly worse than I'm predicting even.
Then you're still right.
Who's to know?
Then
we'll get a better idea after 3 or 4 races.
All right. Last but not least, question number 11. We originally wanted to do a 10, but this one just popped up in my head. Question number 11. Which driver gets replaced first? You could say none. That's also
nice. I am tempted to say none. In fact, I think I will say none.
None for James. Perez for John.
I mean, Perez is the obvious choice. Maybe do a driver swap him and
or Lewis,
or Yuki.
if they can't get along.
Yeah.
Make Schumacher in a Mercedes halfway through.
Yeah, I think there's a chance that they just swap him around with one of the VCarb drivers. Whoever.
Yeah, that's what I call also right. Like, so I think that's
whichever one is leading the two of them by, say, the halfway point of the season or going into the summer break, there is a chance Perez gets swapped if he's not performing with whichever one's currently.
That's my bad. That's my bad.
But I'm still going to say no, because I think it's his final year with Red Bull. Red Bull look like they're probably going to have a season like last year. I mean, it's not guaranteed, obviously, but that's the way it currently reads. And if they do, I think Perez can probably do a little bit better than last year. I think, last year he had a bit of bad luck. He had a bit of...
Yeah, that's one way of call.
Well, there was a little bit of that. Like,
I wouldn't call being next to Max being bad luck, but
not
managing Q2 for like 7 races or something.
Yeah, but like the brake thing in Australia and stuff like that. Like, okay, he knew there was a problem there, and he could have tried to drive around it. But if he had a problem, like the other car didn't have that problem, he did. So there was a couple of instances of that where he seemed to have an issue with the car that Max didn't have, and obviously Max is a better driver, so there's that. But I think he also just kind of got into quite a downward spiral, didn't he? Which, if he can avoid that this season, then I don't think there's any reason for him not to finish second.
And I have no reason to believe he's not still going downwards the spiral.
Well, yeah, I think there's a high chance of it.
If he crashes first race, that's it, mate. Yeah. Can't see him fight back anymore. So
yeah,
we'll see. He's proven me wrong on multiple occasions. So
yeah, like when we were convinced he was going to win a street circuit race that he then lost.
I'm not. I'm never betting on him again. James, we got our 11 questions in. So you say Haas goes last. The with the most crashes is Sargent for you and Stroll for me. Question number 3 was, will Lewis be beaten? By George. You say no, I say yes. Question number 4, how many teams will win a race? You say 3, I say 4. Question number 5, VCarb is going to be on a podium. You say no, I said yes. Mm-hmm. Number 6, Piastri wins this year before Norris does. You say no, I say yes. I see a trend there. I'm positive. Yeah. Number 7, there will be a Formula 1 team that gets sold. I think we both said yes, but because we both said yes, we named the team. You said Alpine and I said Haas. Mm-hmm. Number 8, Lewis will win a race. You said yes, I said no. Number 9, who's going to win the World Championship in the Constructors title? I said, no, Ferrari. I'm actually, sort of regretting that decision. And you said Red Bull.
Yes.
Number 10, how many points
down the drain,
VCarb
my
gets
friend.
in total? Yeah, I know. You said VCarb gets 120 points. Think that's a little bit high. And because you think it's a little bit high, it's 180. Number 11, we got an extra question going in. Is who's the first driver to be swapped out or swapped for? You said none. I said Perez.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll finish every single podcast with looking forward to the next race. The next race is, of course, starting this weekend, my friend, in Bahrain.
Yeah.
We do the same questions every single week, and a bonus question. You get 1 point for the questions you got answered correctly. And for the bonus question, it has to be a number question, and you get 1 point for the one that gets closest. So, best case scenario, you get 4 points. Worst case scenario, you get 0 points. But we can't both get 4 points each week. Okay. Question number 1. This weekend, we know nothing yet. So, who's going to be on pole position?
Max Verstappen. I'm sticking with Max. To be fair, I think there's a strong chance of even Leclerc getting on there. It's between Max and Leclerc, I think. But again, we don't really know yet. So this is going to be the hardest for the guessing game because it's.
True. That's why I'm going to say Sainz.
You can say Sainz. Okay.
Oh,
that one's a bit out of left field. Yeah. Okay.
Gonna make a stand right now.
Yep.
Who's going to be the race winner?
Max.
I'm going to agree with you there. Yeah. Who is the first? Did not finish the first DNF of the race.
Gasly.
Oh, interesting. And what happens?
Well,
that
Gasly
doesn't count, though.
He just has bad luck. He's just. I think something's just going to happen to him because he just seems to. He had a lot of bad luck last year. He should have scored, like, looking at the points Alpine got last year. He should have. He had opportunities to do better, and things just didn't pan out for him. And I think that maybe he's just going to continue because it looks like the Alpines pretty garbage.
True. I wanted to go for Stroll. Mm-hmm. Now I'm a little bit in doubt because it feels like
Stroll's always a safe bet. To be fair, yeah. I feel like Stroll should just be excluded because otherwise we were always just going to say Stroll.
Okay, then I'm going to go for Logan Sargent.
Okay.
No, I'm going to go.
No, I'm only joking.
I'm going to go for Magnussen, mate.
Going to go with Magnussen.
Yeah, or he's so slow it doesn't even count as crashing.
I mean, we're looking at the back of the field, but who knows if like Hamilton just decides to drive into Fernando Alonso again or something.
Mate, you got it completely right there. Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I think there's actually probably more chance of somebody mid to front field DNFing at the start than.
Okay, never mind. Yuki Tsunoda, my final answer.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sticking with my answer.
Yes, Gasly and Yuki.
Gasly, yeah. Poor Gasly.
It's going to be a weird.
I feel sorry for him already, and it hasn't actually happened. I'm just predicting it.
Whoa!
Come on, Gasly, prove me wrong. Yeah. I don't care losing 1 point if you just do a DNF.
Yuki, please don't prove me wrong. Just crash safely.
Yeah.
James.
Just a slight gearbox problem, a little retirement, not an actual crash. Yeah, fine.
Something like that, yeah. But at least do your board radio properly after you crash.
Oh yeah, get angry.
Exactly. Make the.
Do we think we will hear angry Yuki this year?
Oh,
do you think he might start? Do you think he might start to mellow with age? This is his 3rd season, I believe, isn't it?
He's now 17 years old. No, he's not gonna get mellow.
I think at some point he's got to realize that his fiery attitude is not helping anyone. Maybe that's
no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No, probably not. Okay.
We got a bonus question, so it has to be number related. To get the closest gets the point. All James, you thought of a good one before for the first start of the for the first race of the season.
Did I? Which one was that one? Was that the blue flags? How many cars get lapped? No, how many retirements?
You said how many retirements, yeah.
How many retirements? That was it.
I just give away all the questions we prepared for the season.
Yeah. Okay, tune in 3 weeks' time for a new question. No, retirement. No, that's right. I said retirements because it's the start of a season and reliability is always potentially a question. Even when the regulations stay the same, because people push boundaries, obviously. That's the point of Formula One. I think the total number of DNFs will be 3.
You stole my answer.
Oh, God.
Do you know how many did not finish last year?
I do not.
3.
I can maybe try and find out quickly.
No, it's 3. Don't worry. I'd already looked that up.
Oh, was it 3 last year?
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, so we got Piastri, Leclerc, and Ocon not finishing in the first race of the year. I should go for 4 then. I could go safe. Safe isn't fun. I'll go for 4.
It could even be fewer because, like I said, there's also the fact that the regulations haven't changed, so maybe reliability just improves.
4 is a lot, though. So I'm going for 4.
Okay.
They drive on a Saturday. Wind blows from a different direction. They're all gone.
Yeah.
4. 3 for James.
Well, we know we're not getting any rain. Oh, we better not,
that's
because they cemented all the drains.
True. Well, we could get...
There's no drainage.
Well, we could get drain covers being broken again, and that causes crashes. Hey.
Yeah.
But I hope they fix it, though.
I think if that happened, it would just damage a car and then immediately a red flag because it'd be fairly obvious fairly quickly. But I don't think that's going to happen. It happened in testing for anyone who doesn't know. That's listening to this. Happened twice in testing, yeah. The cars basically just sucked up a drain cover like has happened before. Not as dramatically as Carlos Sainz in... Vegas, was it? Yeah, last year. So yeah, but they've apparently just cemented them all in because they're not expecting rain, so they don't care about maintaining drainage for this race.
I think it's safe. Yeah. James, we got the question. We got the answers in for predictions. We spoke about the big results over the year. Big predictions. We'll talk about the race next week after the race. We got one day actually to prepare for that. But it doesn't count for a point. But I want to know, what is the one weird thing that's going to happen, which we'll come back to next week during the race?
One weird thing that's going to happen. I don't know how to define weird at the moment because we don't know what the norm is.
It depends how you bring the joke to the audience.
Yeah. I've not got a joke, and I've not got any wit about me right now. I don't think so. I certainly don't have any speed for it.
You're rusty. You're rusty. I get it. It's okay.
Yeah. There's a bit of rust. It's been a while.
I'll give you one.
Go on then.
Ocon and Gasly will crash into each other.
Yeah, I mean that.
Nor isn't that even considered weird anymore.
I don't think that's too weird. And if only Gasly comes out bad, that's good for my prediction.
Exactly.
So, no. So, in some ways, I hope you're right. And in some ways, I hope not. Weird prediction. I think my weird prediction is that... Is it weird? Really weird? I don't know. I think Aston Martin are actually going to be worse than even is currently being predicted. Because I think... The general consensus seems to be that Red Bull fastest car, Ferrari are probably second. Third is possibly up in the air between Mercedes and McLaren.
I'd go for McLaren.
I think
the Mercedes looked really bad, but that's just my.
I think they had
amateur.
They had a lot of problems with the bumpy track and potentially still some porpoising, but their race pace runs. Like their race simulation runs were good, and I think in a race situation they are.
Doesn't help if you start 10th though.
No, it will depend a lot on their qualifying, but I think in a race situation they will be the faster car than McLaren, and I think everyone's kind of assuming that the first team after those 4 is Aston Martin
or VCarb.
Well, I think it will be VCarb, and I think maybe Williams will be faster than Aston Martin. So that's my weird.
Oh, Williams faster than Austin. Okay.
That's my weird prediction: is that Williams are actually faster than Aston Martin.
That's a good one. All right, man. I'm looking so forward to everyone listening. We'll be back every single Tuesday after a race. At least that's what we're aiming for.
That's what
Sometimes
we're trying for.
might be Wednesday, but we're aiming definitely on release on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, and if you're listening to this, hey, we don't ask for any support, but we could really appreciate if you sub to it, share that link with someone, leave a comment in the Spotify sections, give a 5-star review, really helps.
Yep.
So put it there. We're also on YouTube. We're not even big enough to get a separate YouTube channel yet. So, hey, maybe sub there as well if you're on it. Because, hey, we're on video, so you can look at the best there in the business as well.
Maybe one day I'll let it down again. I just tie it up all the time at the moment.
That's something.
Tune in next week and see if my
if that helps.
Released.
See if he wears a red T-shirt and brings his hair down.
No, it won't be a red T-shirt yet. That doesn't happen until probably our last episode. Well, actually, there's a chance there is a red T-shirt, but it won't be Ferrari based. It might just be generically a red T-shirt.
You know, we might be doing a live show in Greece during the year somewhere.
Oh, there is that chance, yeah.
I might bring.
But yeah, as soon as the season ends, I'm in the Tifosi, baby. I'm a Ferrari man.
All right. See you next week, my friend. Enjoy the race. And remember, it's on Saturday. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.